Hello and welcome to my channel Happy Hours. In the last video I discussed about the issues with NGOs, about FCRA, its rules and a little bit about the pressure groups. In this video I am going to proceed further with the techniques used by the pressure group, functions and roles of the pressure group in the society and their shortcomings. So what are we waiting for? Let's jump to the first topic, which is the techniques used by the pressure group. There are basically three techniques. The first one is electioneering, second one is the lobbying, and the third one is the propaganda. I am going to discuss about each one by one. The first one is electioneering. It is a method of placing a public office persons who are favorable to the interest of the concerned pressure group. We can understand with an example, that is the Farmers Association. There are several ministers who are from the Farmers Association, such as Ajit Singh and Chaudhary Devilal. These people who are disposed to the interests of the pressure group, they get into the decision making mechanism, and now they can take decisions or make decisions which are in favor of the pressure group. Second technique is the lobbying. Lobbying is a method where pressure groups persuaded and influence decision makers, whether they are initially favorably disposed or not to the demands and interests of the pressure groups. We can understand it with an example as USA and a National Rifles Association. In USA, lobbying is constitutional. So whenever there is a bill has to get passed, they have to represent it in the Senate. And Senate, they had to get passed also from there. And for that, majority is required is the 51 supporter, because there are total 100 seats in the Senate. There is a group called National Rifles Association, or we call NRA. It is a pressure group and they represent all the businesses who are involved in the arms and ammunition. The influences the Senate and even the House of Representatives. They are involved in the Congress now. So we can say the whole politics or the policy makers are under the control of National Rifles Association, almost all. That's why they are unable to pass a law which is against the wishes of the National Rifles Association, and that law is the bill of the gun control law. Now they are financing the elections and ensure tickets even. Now in India it is illegal. You cannot do lobbying in India, but there are certain instances when we found such incidents, like a case of Mahua Moitra, where she was doing lobbying. So since it is not constitutional, or we can say it is illegal in India, so she was disqualified from Lok Sabha because she violated the ethics. Now the next one is the propaganda. It is influencing public opinion and thereby gaining an indirect influence over the government. Since a government in democracy is substantially affected by the public opinion. Propaganda can be considered as a method to influence public opinion. In a democracy, what matters? It is the public opinion. So we can say that the most important mechanism is the propaganda, and that can influence the public opinion. It will influence the policies of government, and propaganda can be done by three methods. First, by supplying information. Secondly, by showing the power. And the third, appeal to the institutions. Let us understand them one by one. Supply of information. We are living in the era of social media. This becomes very important tool. It also includes disinformation, means they are providing the information and even they are providing the disinformation, means which are factually not correct, or we can say a false information. This information can be used for propaganda because the information is having the capability of the public opinion. Like the example is the ban on Maggie. There was information on the internet that the Maggie is having high lead component, and even the MSG component was very high. So they started supplying the information in on the internet, and it and because of the pressure, there was a test done by the FSSAI, and they found that the information provided was correct, and that caused to the lead of ban of Maggie in the world. Next, we are having the show of power, about showing of support that a particular cause has, like Satyagraha taken up by Mahatma Gandhi. He got support. It impacted the then government. Example, India. Another example is India Against Corruption movement. It was led by Anna Hazare. Started demanding for a law which was the Jan Lokpal. When the government was not listening to him, he started protest at Jantar Mantar. Then the government started negotiating, and they asked that they need to have 6 months for drafting the bill. But after promising, they didn't work. So again Anna Hazare started protesting, and this time he was arrested also. And because of that, the support get more increased. And so it was the way he showed the power. And even one more example is that the lone wolf attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, where one person doing the terrorist attack, means the targeted killing. This is also the show of power, but with violence. Before, what I was describing with these two examples were without the violence. Like Mahatma Gandhi, he never did any violence. Even Anna Hazare, he was against violence. He was doing protest very silently, and even he didn't harm anyone. But the last two examples which I was giving you, these were like the lone wolf attacks, where one person was the cause of the damage, and even the targeting killing. These are the violence, and it is also the way of show of power. Next is the appeal to jurisdiction, or we can say appeal to institutions. Institutions like judiciary, like filing a PIL. When the upper two things like supply of information and even the show of power didn't work, then what is happening? They will start appealing to the judiciary. And the judiciary, what they are going to do, they are going to make observation, and these observations are not now going to be discussed, and by this also the public opinion get influenced. Sometimes it can be done with some international bodies like UN. And we can understand with an example, like India and Pakistan are often going to UN. Pakistan is always raising the Kashmir issue there, and we all are mocking them. Now the next is the functions and roles of pressure groups. First function is the interest articulation. Pressure groups bring the demand and needs of the people to the notice of the decision makers. The process by which the claims of the people get crystallized and articulated is called interest articulation. Now we can say that the pressure group is responsible for informing the government about the demands of the people, and even the people are also getting understanding what are the rules and what are the policy is all about. Now they act as an agents of political socialization, means the pressure groups inform the people that they represent about the legislative measures taken by the government and its impact on the people they represent. Therefore, they initiate a two-way communication between the government and the people. Means like if the what is the impact of law? Many times we don't know what is the exact impact of the law. Many of the people who are unaware of the policies even. So what the pressure group do? They act as a mediators. They will make the people understand the law, and even to the government that they are making the government understand that the people are ready to accept the law or not. They play very vital role in political socialization for the community and the government both. The next one is the pressure groups are going to facilitate social progress by preventing social stagnation. Example is like the women organization. These are advocating reforms in the social norms. We all know India is a patriarchal society, means the social norms will contradict with the rights of women. So these organizations will try to reform these norms in order to ensure equality of rights. They ensures social progress take place. Ultimately, government start taking steps for it so the social progress will start rapidly. We can understand like this that there is a pyramidal structure of the society always we can say, and a particular section which is at the lower side, it is going to move to the upper side, which is also known as the social mobility. And by the progress groups, this function is being performed. We can say that they play an key role in the social mobility. It is a very important indicator that the society is progressing in positive way. This happens when the progress groups are working in the positive direction. But sometimes they are also working in the negative direction. Like for example in Taliban. Now they are coming with a rule that there is no education for women and the women are going to be at home for the whole time of the day. They are not supposed to go out even. So by this we can understand already the women are discriminated. They are now more discriminated and even they are deprived of education also. So it is also known as the negative mobility, or we can say the degradation of society. So by this we have understand two terms. First is the positive mobility of the society and the second one is the negative mobility of the society. Where in the positive mobility the society is getting improved and there is a social progress, whereas in the negative mobility there is a degradation of society. Now next move to the next role, and that is they also ensures political stability by providing a safety valve in the society. These groups play an important role in the democratic process as they impact public opinion. They are essential for a effective functioning of liberal democracy. They play vital intermediary role between government and society, and the progress groups also complement the work of opposition political party by improving the accountability of decision makers. They provide an important antidote to the centralization of political powers. By this, I have discussed about all the functions of the progress groups. Now I am going to discuss about the shortcomings of the pressure groups. The first one is the narrow and selfish interest. Unlike the progress group in the developed countries, in India, the progress groups are organized to protect the interests of the few, as they are organized on the basis of economic, social, and cultural interests of a few over the interests of many or majority. Next is the misuse of power. Instead of pressure groups influencing political process and decision making in order to achieve and uphold the interests of community they represent, they generally ended up becoming a tool in the hands of the political parties and their interest. The next one is the instability. Most of the progress groups do not autonomous existence, therefore they are unstable and there is a lack of commitment. Their loyalties shift on the basis of political environment, which may even threaten general welfare. The last one is the adopting extremism. The methodology used by such groups are generally violent, resulting into unpopular consequences. Like we can understand what happened at the reservation tire, or we can say the reservation protest. By this, I am concluding my video. If you find it useful, please like and subscribe. Thank you.